Good afternoon, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV, and we are here to bring you live coverage because former President Biden is going to make his first major speech today since his presidency. That is coming up at supposedly 5:45 Eastern Time, so in about 42 minutes. About 42 minutes until that speech starts. Look, you can see Joe Biden will speak about Social Security in his return to the national stage. I don't know exactly what he's going to say in his speech. We'll see. It's his first major speech since leaving office. So we're going to check this out. We're going to have live coverage for you. He's speaking from Chicago. And I'm hoping to get some video of the event before he comes out, but if nothing else, we're supposed to have the speech. So we are going to bring you live coverage of that, and we'll be taking your comments on the year after. And I want to thank you for joining us, and thanks to our moderators who are here. We have, hold on a second, I want to shout out our moderators. Got to pull a couple things up on the in front of me here. I got that fire, and Matthew Kohai 3 are moderating over there on Twitch. Thank you. Also, thanks to Graybeard Games for subscribing. I didn't even see that before. Thanks for subscribing. And something else going on right now I might show you some of for a second. And also thanks to, hang on. Oh, by the way, there are some protesters outside of the court hearing for Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I kind of want to cut in and see what they're saying. If you give me 2 seconds, I might cut in on that just really quickly to see what they are saying. I need a minute. Hold on. Is this going to work? Let's see. Let's see if this works. This is live right here.
We need to keep applying pressure and keep pushing back against this narrative that the question of this case is about whether or not Kilmar is a quote-unquote terrorist. That's not what this question is about. That's not what this case is about. This case is about the government unlawfully and admitting to unlawfully removing a gentleman from this country, from Maryland, from his home, his family, his children, and taking no actions, no meaningful steps to fix that, as ordered by the Supreme Court in a unanimous decision. So we hope you all will continue to follow along on this case and support the family.
How would you characterize the government's approach to this?
I mean, they are doing what they're required to do, right? Which is to push back as they're being told to do, the government attorneys. The government themselves arguably has not acted in good faith, has not provided in their status reports any meaningful steps of what they've taken, which is what the judge confirmed today, that they did not do that. So take that for what you will.
Earlier today in one of the status updates, the DOJ said...
I'm assuming this might be his lawyer, but I'm not sure.
That he could potentially be deported to a third country or back to El Salvador. What are your thoughts on that?
I may be speaking a little bit out of turn, but I'm quite upset that the government purposefully, well, in my opinion, purposefully read that out loud today in court, called attention to that specific paragraph with his wife in the courtroom, given that that is not how this works. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, has no authority to remove someone's withholding of removal. They can move that the case is reopened. They can present evidence, which we have yet to see, of their allegations, but a judge is the one who makes the decision to remove withholding of removal.
What are the next steps?
When will the government be included
Our requests are due tomorrow for who we would like to speak with. But essentially, it's the four persons who provided those affidavits for the status reports. So at minimum, them.
Are you thinking of requesting someone higher up at this time?
At this time, I can't say. We'll see tomorrow. Okay.
Since time is of the essence, are you concerned about the delay and how long this is actually taking?
Yes, except I think that this court has understood the serious concerns in this case with safety and has moved to expeditiously go through the discovery process faster than I'm aware of being done. So yes, I'm concerned, but this probably is as fast as we could have it.
What are the next steps now?
Yeah. So the next steps are to submit our questions and what we would like, our ask, by tomorrow, and then the government has a week to respond. Essentially, within 2 weeks, we should, in theory, be done with discovery.
I want to ask you something that came out of the White House today. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt mentioned something that could be very upsetting to the family members, saying that Mr. Garcia was a human trafficker. Can you guys respond to that?
Honestly, I can't because I have seen no evidence to support that statement. So I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know if it's a mischaracterization or how it was worded that way. I don't know where that comes from.
And have you guys gotten any updates on his condition inside court, other than the status, inside that facility, other than the status updates?
Unfortunately not.
Are you at all concerned that you might not get any additional substantive answers from the department and that it'll just be 2 weeks later with no answers and maybe heading toward contempt, but still not closer to the facilitation of a return or substantive answers?
I don't think that we can honestly say that's outside of the realm of possibility. However, we have to believe in this justice system, and we have to believe that they will do as ordered. Otherwise, yes, we have to take next steps, and I think the court is prepared to do so.
What can the thousands of working people who support the family and Jennifer do to be in solidarity? What do you suggest that we do to express our support?
I think that's probably a question for CASA and the wonderful people who've been supporting the family. Our role is purely legal and hope to attack what the family needs through that angle.
Can you describe the semantics that are at play here? The defense suggested that the word facilitate and different interpretations. Can you describe your response to that?
So, well, to keep it simple, I would say we rely on the filings. The government is attempting to limit, but I think the Supreme Court has been clear. They said to facilitate the release from custody, correct? So even if we define facilitate to mean something specific, you can't ignore the next part of that sentence. And that's what the government has continued to try to do, which the judge spoke out against today. Well, I think it could look like a number of things. The government has many times before facilitated the return of foreign nationals, U.S. citizens, legal permanent residents from abroad. So they know the processes and steps and the people to reach out to, the agencies that need to be involved to make that happen.
Is the case we call against the Supreme Court?
I think the court is attempting to limit that possibility by making her statements today and ordering expedited discovery and not jumping straight to contempt. I think the government is prepared to do that if necessary, and we're prepared to fight back if that's what's needed.
Mr. Lookner said that he is a member of the MS-13, and if he will come back, he's not contempt. So he will be supported again.
So, just as a small clarification, at this time no evidence has been submitted about this allegation, proving this allegation or supporting this allegation, and it was the government who said that he would be detained in the United States and potentially deported, but that's not up for this court or this proceeding. It's up for an immigration court to decide once he's back here.
What options are available should the government not follow through on the court's directive?
I think reasonably the next steps would be contempt. There could be sanctions such as monetary daily sanctions, non-monetary sanctions, personal sanctions. There are a number of options.
Would these sanctions be on DOJ attorneys? Where would they fall?
It could be on DOJ attorneys, yes, because they are the ones who are put forward to provide the status updates in their professional or personal capacity.
When the judge mentioned these interrogatories and depositions that she wants, she mentioned a couple of names. She mentioned Robert Sona. What other people do you think she would like to hear from? Do you think that they can ask?
So specifically, it's the four people who provided those affidavits in the status reports. Outside of that, it's up for us to call, and I can't speak to that at this time.
What is she talking about privilege regarding the acting general counsel?
So the government likely intends to argue that they have privilege from disclosing certain pieces of information or evidence, and the judge essentially told them, show your work, prove it, and I'll make a ruling.
What do you have to say to Democrats that said they're willing to travel to El Salvador to help, and do you believe that would be beneficial?
At this time, I think the position we should take is that it's the government's obligation to facilitate that. Now, whether they want to coordinate with, I know, for example, Senator Van Hollen has offered this. If they want to coordinate with him, by all means, go for it. But I don't think it should be up to our elected representatives to personally take that on. It's the government's responsibility. But it's a great thing for them to know so that they can take advantage of that. Yes. Rina, R-I-N-A, last name Gandhi, G-A-N as in Nancy, D-H-I. Thank you.
Thank you.
Y brevemente para las audiencias latinoamericanas y para nuestra comunidad, en español nomás vamos a brevemente hacer un resumen de lo que nos...
I think, I'm going to look it up, it sounded like that was one of the lawyers for Kilmar Abrigo Garcia. I would be surprised if it wasn't. But I know we're here to cover President Biden's speech, and we're going to. But I wanted to show you that live update. I don't want to get too into that whole thing now, but that is Kilmar Abrigo Garcia is the Maryland man. It's a man who's a Salvadoran migrant who originally entered the country illegally, I think over a decade ago. And he was living in Maryland with a wife and children. His wife is a U.S. citizen. And he was deported by the U.S. government in March, sent to a prison in El Salvador. The Trump administration later said in court that they had made an administrative mistake and he should not have been sent away. The Supreme Court has ordered the Trump administration to facilitate his return to the U.S. At this point, there's no evidence they have taken any kind of positive steps toward returning him to the U.S. or attempting to return him to the U.S. So there is this whole question of, is the Trump administration not complying with a Supreme Court order? So anyways, that's something I'm guessing we'll cover more in the coming days and weeks. I don't want to get too focused on that right now. I did want to just take a second, though, and show you guys some of that live footage because a hearing just happened today, and I believe that was one of Abrigo Garcia's lawyers speaking about this. Okay, now, that being done, thank you for bearing with me. I think we should move on and talk about, they're still talking and saying some stuff, but I'm going to move on and talk about President Biden's speech. Hold on. President Biden's speech. There we go. President Biden is supposed to speak in 28 minutes. 28 minutes. His first major speech since being president. How about that? By the way, I haven't even had time to thank all the moderators yet, because I cut in and showed you that video there. So let me quickly do that. Kay Lowry Body is moderating. Thank you, Kay. Thanks also Jennifer Ellers for subscribing over there on Facebook. We have I Got That Fire, Matthew Kohai 3, and Serrero moderating on Twitch. Thank you, Daredevil 2300 for your support on Twitch. We have over there on YouTube Larissa the Night Owl moderating. Roberts May Queen, thank you so much for being there. I really appreciate it. Linda Bell Glary, Misha over on X. And let me also do a quick check, because it's possible I'll get some video from the venue before Biden speaks, but I don't have that yet. But we're supposed to have the speech, live video of that speech. Oops, sorry. So let's get updated on this. Joe Biden will speak about Social Security in his return to the national stage, says AP. Former President Biden returns to the national stage today in about 26 minutes to elevate liberal concerns that President Trump's agenda is threatening the health of Social Security. The 82-year-old Democrat has largely avoided speaking publicly since leaving the White House in January, which is typically the tradition for immediate past presidents. That's even as Trump frequently blames Biden for many of the nation's problems, often attacking his predecessor by name. Biden is expected to fight back in an early evening speech to the National Conference of Advocates, Counselors, and Representatives for the Disabled in Chicago. While Biden has made a handful of public appearances in recent weeks, Tuesday's high-profile address focuses on a critical issue for tens of millions of Americans that could define this next year's midterm elections. Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries said in a call with reporters, "This is an all-hands-on-deck moment, which is why President Biden's voice in this moment is so important." White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt took a shot at the former president's age when asked about the speech. "I'm shocked he is speaking at nighttime," Leavitt said during today's White House press briefing. "I thought his bedtime was much earlier than his speech tonight." She said that Trump, who is 78 years old, would sign a presidential memorandum Tuesday afternoon aimed at stopping illegal aliens and other ineligible people from obtaining Social Security benefits. The memorandum will expand the Social Security Administration's fraud prosecutor program to at least 50 U.S. attorney offices and establish Medicare and Medicaid fraud prosecution programs in 15 U.S. attorney offices, she said. I'll read a little more here, then we'll take some comments. Despite such moves, the Social Security Administration has been plagued by controversy. Under Trump's leadership, the Republican president almost immediately began slashing the government workforce upon his return to the White House, including thousands of employees at the Social Security Administration, along with a planned layoff of 7,000 workers and contentious plans to impose tighter identity-proofing measures for recipients. The Social Security Administration has been sued over a decision to allow Trump advisor Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency to access individuals' Social Security numbers and other personally identifiable information. Musk, the world's richest man and one of Trump's most influential advisors, has called Social Security the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. At the same time, Social Security recipients have complained about long call wait times as the agency's My Social Security Benefits portal has seen an increase in outages. Individuals who receive supplemental security income, including disabled seniors and low-income adults and children, also reported receiving a notice that said they were not receiving benefits. The agency said the notice was a mistake, and the White House has vowed that it would not cut Social Security benefits, saying any changes are intended to reduce waste and fraud. Biden will be joined in Chicago tonight by a bipartisan group of former elected officials, including former Senator Roy Blunt, Republican of Missouri, former Senator Debbie Stabenow, Democrat of Michigan, and former Social Security Administrator Martin O'Malley. Biden is not expected to make frequent public appearances as he transitions into post-presidency. Okay, so I want to take some comments from you guys. President Biden speaking about Social Security in about 22 minutes. Austin Batman says teleprompters will be in place. Do you think he will speak just about President Trump in general? I don't know. I don't know, he's going to say something about Social Security. Will he talk about other topics too? We'll have to just see. I have no idea. Oh, Mr. Mulligan says, how long do you think it will take Trump to tweet after the speech ends? Thank you, Mr. Mulligan. I appreciate your support, by the way. It's a good question. I could see him not tweeting. I could see President Trump posting on Truth Social during the speech. I just don't know what's going to happen with that. It's an interesting question. So that's going to be in 21 minutes. Let me just check again and see. Hoping to get maybe some footage of the venue before he even speaks. I don't know how long he's going to speak for either, but it's the first major speech by Biden since he left office. One of our viewers, Wander, says Trump should give a speech at the same time. Fred Flintstone thinks he'll say whatever pops into his head. Here's another article about it. You'll see it pop up in a second. Breaking his silence, Biden to speak out on Social Security. The speech is in 20 minutes, according to the schedule at least. This is from the Washington Post. Former President Biden is scheduled tonight to deliver his first public comments since leaving the White House, speaking on the importance of Social Security after 12 weeks in which President Trump has regularly excoriated, harshly criticized his predecessor, while Biden has kept quiet. Biden, speaking to a gathering of advocates for disabled people, is expected to address the future of the premier program for elderly and disabled Americans, which under Trump has faced website outages, technical glitches, unanswered phone lines, and other problems amid Elon Musk's cost-cutting efforts. It is not clear, says the Washington Post, it is not clear how directly or harshly Biden will criticize Trump and the direction Trump is taking the country. But Democrats have seized on the struggles at the Social Security Administration to hammer home a broader message that Trump is pursuing a chaotic agenda at the expense of ordinary Americans. Spending cuts and firings championed by Musk and the U.S. DOJ service have complicated GOP efforts to address the volatile political issue. The Post says Social Security has long been a battlefield between the two parties, as Republicans suggest overhauling the program to cut costs and put the program on a sounder financial footing. Democrats argue that such cuts would hurt elderly and disabled Americans, especially if they are used to subsidize tax cuts for the wealthy. Tuesday's speech carries a political drama that goes far beyond the future of the program itself. Biden is the sole politician to defeat Trump, having driven him from the White House in 2020. After a campaign in which he portrayed Trump as immoral and unfit to serve. Trump has never accepted that defeat, alleging falsely and repeatedly that the election was stolen and insulting Biden as Sleepy Joe and Cricket Joe. Even after Biden ceded the 2024 Democratic nomination to then Vice President Kamala Harris, Trump often seemed to attack Biden as much as Harris. And since taking office in January, Trump has repeatedly slammed Biden, blaming him for problems such as inflation and the Russian-Ukraine war that Trump promised to fix instantly, but is struggling to address. As recently as yesterday, Trump posted on Truth Social, "The war between Russia and Ukraine is Biden's war, not mine." He added that Ukrainian President Zelensky and crooked Joe Biden did an absolutely horrible job in allowing this travesty to begin. On March 4th, in an address to a joint session of Congress on March 4th, Trump declared that Biden was the worst president in American history. Biden, in contrast, has followed the tradition in which presidents avoid criticizing their successors. He welcomed Trump to the White House after the election and has not spoken publicly since Inauguration Day until now. Wow. Wow. So, guys, we don't know exactly what Biden is going to say about Trump. I assume he'll say something. We'll have to see. Thank you, Captain Jerry Donnelly. What do you guys think? Captain Jerry Donnelly says, "I think he will also speak about how he agrees on rebuilding the U.S. Merchant Marine and new U.S. ships." Thank you so much, Captain Jerry Donnelly. I really appreciate your support. Captain Jerry Donnelly. We have about 15 minutes till this speech starts. 15 minutes if it starts on time. Oops, hold on. Roberts Mayqueen thinks Social Security is fine. Jeremy thinks nobody cares what he has to say. Emma Montana says Biden is always late. Maybe it'll start late. I don't know. We'll have to see. Natty Bumpo says, is he going to run again? I've heard no reporting suggesting he will run again. The Lucky Minute says, I care. I am looking forward to it. Let me give you a little political analysis here from the Washington Post article about this speech tonight. They say, as Trump has opened his second presidency with a rapid fire barrage of edicts and actions, Democrats have seemed stunned at times and have struggled to unite behind a coherent message. The president's on-again, off-again tariff announcements, which have rattled the markets and forecast higher prices, have given them a potential rallying point. Social Security may be another. Politicians for years have hesitated to suggest cuts in the program, which serves 73 million Americans, in recognition of its popularity in the sense of many Americans that after a lifetime of paying into the program, they deserve the benefits. Elon Musk raised the issue in colorful fashion in an appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast several weeks ago, calling Social Security the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. Musk argued that the amount being paid into the system is dwarfed by its future obligations. In his March address to Congress, Trump cited shocking levels of incompetence and probable fraud in the Social Security program for our seniors, and that our seniors and people we love rely on. Trump complained that the program is paying money to thousands of people who are purportedly 160 years old or older, a claim that has repeatedly been debunked. The Social Security Administration, in its 2024 annual report, found that its trust fund for the elderly would be able to pay 100% of its scheduled benefits only until 2033. Unless changes are made, the fund's reserves would be depleted, and only 79% of benefits could be paid at that point. Democrats contend that regardless of what changes are needed, Trump's actions are making the situation worse. The Social Security Administration has lost 7,000 employees under the streamlining efforts of Trump and Musk, with thousands more planned. So President Biden will definitely be speaking on Social Security, his first major speech since the end of his presidency, in about 11 minutes. In about 11 minutes. How much will he talk about other topics? How much will he respond to President Trump's frequent criticisms of him? I don't know. I have no idea. Don't know what to expect. But we're going to be covering it right here. We're going to have live footage. Let me know what you think. Hey, thanks Crypto King, who says maybe Joe will announce running for 2028. I don't think Crypto King is serious. But thank you, Crypto King. I really appreciate your support. Jed High thinks whatever he says, it's going to cause division. And it's vexing, like, can't we unite behind the United States we are to be? I keep checking to see if I have, well, let me put this over here actually, that'll make things easier. Checking to see if I have any advanced footage before he speaks. Not yet. They have not gone live, at least the stream I'm going to be using. Ronald45 says it's Jover. DP says hopefully this will be his long-awaited confession. I'm not even sure what that means. All right, we are getting very close to the Biden speech. Give me one moment here. After, we will read some of your comments about the speech. I don't even know how long he's going to be speaking for. Let's see here. Eduardo Garza thinks he is probably going to talk about the fascism and dictatorship going on right now. That's what our viewer Eduardo said. When will it start? The scheduled start time is 5:45 Eastern, which is 9 minutes from now. I can't promise it will start then, but that is the scheduled start time I have seen. Now, less than 9 minutes from now. Very soon, if it starts on time. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Mulligan. Thank you, Mr. Mulligan. I cover all kinds of big news, Mr. Mulligan. Thank you. Thank you also, Craig Talbert, for your support. I appreciate that, Craig. I mean, I have no idea if he'll talk about immigration stuff. Will he talk about the election last year? Yes, I am still in Lima, Peru, so thanks for your understanding. I'm using my not usual setup. So hopefully we don't have any major technical glitches. Oops, hold on here. Here we go. Thank you, Heavenly Intervention. Heavenly Intervention, our viewer. thinks Trump's disrespect towards previous presidents, especially Joe, is very unpresidential and immature. That's what Heavenly Intervention thinks. All right, about 7 minutes until this is supposed to start. Maybe less, actually less than 7 minutes. They've still not gone live yet on the Reuters feed. I keep checking it. As soon as I have video to show you, I will put it on the screen for you. It's going to be in Chicago. Lucas Malik, thank you, Lucas. Lucas says, my mechanic Craig said this could shake things up big, and he wants to retire soon. Yeah, I'm interested in hearing what he has to say. I assume he might say he's worried about, he's going to be talking about Social Security, so I would assume he's going to express concerns about how this administration might handle Social Security. All right, it's supposed to start in a little over 5 minutes. Excuse me. Justin Avery says more sound bites incoming. It is going to be in Chicago. Again, he is speaking at the National Conference of Advocates, Counselors, and Representatives for the Disabled in Chicago. Austin Batman says, worried about DOJ cuts to Social Security. He might talk about that. Less than 5 minutes till it's supposed to start. Less than 5 minutes. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Mulligan. The 4chan leaks. I have not seen that story, Mr. Mulligan. I'll have to look it up. I have no thoughts on it because I was not aware of the story. I'll have to look it up later. Thank you, Mr. Mulligan. I'll check it out. I'm sorry I don't have more info for you. At the moment, I'm keeping an eye on this because I think it's supposed to start like any minute now, about 3 minutes. Thank you also, Dennis Kennedy, for your support. I really appreciate that, Dennis. Thank you. Thank you again. Oh, thanks to Subz's, who gave out 5 community subs on Twitch. Wow, Subz's, that's so nice of you. Thank you. Thanks also for Rivertown Creation for subscribing on Twitch. Make sure you thank Subz's if you got a gift subscription from Subz's on Twitch. That's really nice of you. Thanks again to our moderators, Kay Lowry Body moderating over there. Thank you, Kay. And on Facebook, Linda Belk, Larry, Misha on X. On Twitch, Cerrero, I got that fire, Matthew Kohai 3. On YouTube, Sabrina is there. Thank you. Roberts May Queen, Beth Mythical, big thanks. Do we have video? Nope, still no video. All right, it is currently 5:42 p.m. Eastern Time. The start time I saw was 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, it might start late. Oh, you know what? Actually, I just noticed something. So I'm looking at the Reuters broadcast. They say their feed starts at 5:45 And his remarks will be at 6. So I'm sorry. I had seen a different report that said he's speaking at 5:45. Reuters says their feed's supposed to start in about less than 2 minutes, so we'll have video if it starts on time. And then they say he's going to speak at 6. So we might see speakers before him. Maybe they're just going to show the event. As soon as I have their feed, I'll put it up on the screen. But it should be in a very short amount of time. Maybe in like a minute. Again, this is his first major speech since he left office about 3 months ago. About 3 months ago. This group is a group of advocates for the disabled. I'm not familiar with the group. Advocates, counselors, and representatives for the disabled. He is speaking for them. Bill McMonagle thinks he's going to announce he bought a Tesla. All right, so it is right now. It is 5:44. Any moment now, we're supposed to at least get video from the event. I have my eyes on it. On the feed. Let me check something here real quick. Just checking something really quick. Again, yeah, so Reuters is saying that their video is supposed to start at 5:45, but he's going to speak at 6. Well, their video hasn't started yet. Check one thing here. Okay, now, there is a podium at the place. There's definitely a podium there. He's not speaking yet. But I'm waiting for the video that I can show you, which should happen at any moment now. But I can tell you there is a podium at this event. Oops. He will be speaking about Social Security and who knows what else. One of our viewers thinks Governor Pritzker is going to speak there. I don't know if he's going to. We're at 5:46. Reuters said their video was going to start 1 minute ago. It has not started yet. As soon as I have the video from Reuters, I will put it up on the stream. I'll put it up for you. That is the one I'm going to be using. Minish, one of our viewers said, hold on. One of our viewers, Gentile said, here for the spectacle. One of our viewers said, I hope he goes ballistic or something. Mini Sleep says, I hope he just goes ballistic. Hey, thanks so much to Olive Tav. Is it normally that a previous president has a speech like this? So, yeah, we talked about that a little earlier. Let me show you something about that. I think the AP article talked about that. Where is it? Or was it the Washington Post article? One of the articles discussed this. Was it the AP article? Let's see, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Biden has largely avoided speaking publicly since leaving the White House in January, which is typically the tradition for immediate past presidents. That's even as Trump frequently blames Biden for many of the nation's problems, often attacking his predecessor by name. Biden is expected to fight back tonight. But I don't believe it said Biden is not expected to make frequent public appearances as he transitions into his post-presidency. He still maintains an office in Washington, but has returned to Delaware as his regular home base. Trump has revoked his security clearances. That's according to AP. All right. Again, he is not speaking yet. He's not speaking yet, but from what I can see here, yeah, he's not speaking yet. Any moment now, I'm supposed to get video from the venue. I guess the speech is scheduled for 6. Sorry, I had seen 5:45 before, but Reuters is saying he's supposed to start at 6. I'm literally just every 2 seconds looking over to see, because as soon as the video pops up, I will put it on the screen for you. There, that's what I want. I don't know how long he is scheduled to speak for. Thank you, Captain Jerry Donnelly. I appreciate it, Captain Jerry Donnelly. The speech has not started yet. Salt of the Earth says, taking bets he will say chaos. Maybe I can find something about the event if you give me a second as we wait for him to speak. We will have video for you. I'm downloading the agenda right now of the conference so I can see it. Conference schedule. I'm looking at it. Yes. From 4:40, it has not started yet. From 4:45 to 6, it says. That's Central Time. Keynote address by former President Biden and Governor Martin O'Malley. Martin O'Malley is the former Maryland governor. Yeah, it hasn't started yet. I can tell. There's one feed I don't have the rights to, which is just showing an empty stage. But the feed I have the rights to has not started yet. This is the ACRD Chicago Conference. Their website says ARCD empowers advocates, counselors, and representatives of the disabled, I believe it is, with top-tier education and resources. Our mission is to empower and educate disability representatives. Social Security is old age survivors and disability insurance. So it would make sense to speak about it at a conference for disabled advocacy. You can see here, this is from the Social Security website. We administer benefits like retirement, disability, survivor, and family. We also manage supplemental security income, enroll people in Medicare, and issue Social Security numbers and cards. So we're still waiting for this to start. Sorry, the feed from Reuters was already supposed to start, but it has not started yet. He is not speaking yet. Nobody is speaking at the moment at the conference on the stage. As soon as I get the video, I will put it on the screen for you. Looks like it's running a few minutes late. This is in Chicago. Hey, thanks so much to Wow. Hold on a second here. I owe someone a big thank you. That was Casey Steve just gave 50 people memberships. Wow. Make sure you thank Casey Steve if you got a membership from him. That's very generous of you, Casey Steve. Thank you so much. That's over on YouTube. Thank you. Really nice of you. Hey, thanks also, Mr. Mulligan. What motivated me to start the channel? I don't really have time for a big answer right now, but I mean, I wanted there to be up-to-date news coverage without an agenda. How's that? And I always followed the news myself. But we try to get you the latest updates here without an agenda. Be really up to date. I mean, that wasn't really a full answer, but in the time we have, I'll go with that. Thank you to our member, Scott Wheeler. So again, it hasn't started yet. I'm just waiting for us to get the live feed. The live feed was from Reuters was supposed to come on 10 minutes ago, but it has not started yet. Oops. I can tell you that no one is speaking there. I can confirm that. No one is speaking yet. I hate when, when you guys have to wait for stuff, but I can't control when things get delayed. I'm seeing here, any updates about this? In case you missed it from earlier, our discussion of it, President Biden is going to be speaking about Social Security and who knows what else. This is his first major speech since he left the presidency. AP says former President Biden will return to the national stage to elevate liberal concerns that President Trump's agenda is threatening the health of Social Security. He has largely avoided speaking publicly since leaving the White House in January, which is typically the tradition for immediate past presidents. That's even as Trump frequently blames Biden for many of the nation's problems, often attacking him by name. Biden is expected to fight back very, very shortly in an early evening speech in the National Conference of Advocates, Counselors, and Representatives for the Disabled in Chicago. While Biden has made a handful of public appearances in recent weeks, today's high-profile address focuses on a critical issue for tens of millions of Americans that could define next year's midterm elections. Remember that White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt today took a shot at Biden when asked at Biden's age when asked about his speech. She said today, "I'm shocked that he is speaking at nighttime," she said during the press briefing at the White House. "I thought his bedtime was much earlier than his speech tonight." Thank you, by the way, to Rizak. Thank you. Is it Rizak? Hold on a second here. Rizek? I have to pull it up here. Rizek. Thank you, Rizek, for becoming a member. Hold on a sec here. No video yet. Did I thank Scott Wheeler? Oh, Diane Funstein. Thank you, Diane Funstein, for your support. I appreciate it. Diane Funstein. And Enema. Thanks for your support. The video is not live yet that I can show you. There's nobody speaking there at the moment. You're not missing the speech. Reuters has not started their live stream officially. As soon as I have the video, the second I have it, I will put it on the screen for you. Feist says, will he yell and whisper? Will he look different than a few months ago? That I don't know. Let me check something here as we wait for it to begin. We are waiting for it to begin. Thank you to CivLab for your support. I really appreciate that, CivLab. Says, hopefully Biden doesn't do the just when I thought I was outlined from The Godfather 3. This is going to be in Chicago. Nobody is speaking yet. Adriana says, do we need a speech for this guy, from this guy? Will he address criticisms of himself? Like when, as I mentioned, one of the articles talked about this. Where was it? In the Washington Post article, it talked about how Trump said yesterday on True Social, the war between Russia and Ukraine is Biden's war, not mine. He said Ukrainian President Zelensky and crooked Joe Biden did an absolutely horrible job in allowing this travesty to begin. Will he talk about that stuff? Thank you, Adam, for the gift membership. So nice of you, Adam. Thank you. The Post says Biden is scheduled to make his first public comments since leaving the White House, speaking on the importance of Social Security after 12 weeks in which President Trump has regularly excoriated his predecessor while Biden has kept quiet. Biden, speaking to a gathering of advocates for disabled people, is expected to address the future of the premier program for elderly and disabled Americans, which under Trump has faced website outages, technical glitches, unanswered phone lines, and other problems amid Elon Musk's cost-cutting efforts. Thanks to our member, Dennis St. Amour. Thank you, Dennis, for being a member. Still has not started. Reuters still is not live with their video. There's nobody speaking there at the moment. It is 5:03. The schedule said that he and Martin O'Malley would be speaking from 4:45 to 6. It is now 5:03 Central Time. Our viewer Telomere says, Biden, where are you, buddy? Yeah, there is one feed showing the podium. That's not a feed I have the rights to, but it's empty. But Reuters will go live before he speaks. Thanks to our new member, Adam. Thank you, Adam. One of our viewers said no show. No, I've heard no reporting that he's not showing up. Really, at any moment. Laura in Detroit says, let's go, Joe. Maybe he's still making changes to his speech. I don't know. Maybe he's discussing if he wants to say certain things. Hold on a moment. I have a podium. I have video of a podium for you guys. Get ready. Oh, we have a podium coming up for you. Are you ready to see the podium? Are you ready to see the podium? Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. Give me a moment here. Give me a moment here. Oh, look at this. Oh, hold on a second. Here you go. Here you go. Oh, there's music. We got to turn the music off. At least the sound works. Oh, we got to turn the music off. Turn the music off. No copyrighted music. There's the podium. We have a podium for you. I'm so happy we can show you a podium. Look, it's a podium. Is somebody speaking? Hold on.
As we prepare to welcome the keynote speaker for this evening, it's fitting that he is introduced by someone whose own career has been defined by principled leadership, reform, and results. Governor Martin O'Malley has served at every level of government, from transforming Baltimore as mayor, to leading Maryland as governor, to overseeing and strengthening the Social Security Administration at a pivotal moment in history. But beyond the metrics, Governor O'Malley brings something rare, a fierce belief that government can and must serve the people, especially the most vulnerable among us. As chair of Accord's advisory board and as a national leader who shares a deep commitment to equity, access, and justice, he stands uniquely positioned to introduce a president who has spent his life advancing these very ideas. So please join me in welcoming Governor Martin O'Malley.
Thank you. Thanks very, very much. Thank you. Wow, it is wonderful to be with all of you today. It's my great honor to join you and also to be in the company of former United States Senator Debbie Stabenow, who is here from Michigan. And also a big round of applause for former Senator Roy Blunt, who's watching on video from home. So it's a great honor to be here with all of you, the advocates, counselors, representatives of the disabled, to present our Beacon of Hope Award to our keynote speaker and the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden. As soon as he was elected, President Biden quickly and decisively led our country out of the pandemic and into the strongest economic recovery of any country in the developed world, creating 16 million jobs in just 4 years, more than any other president in American history. With the bipartisan infrastructure law, President Biden quickly put millions of people to work, rebuilding our bridges and tunnels, ports and airports. He made wages go up, not just for the super wealthy, but for Americans all across every earning quintile of the economy. He brought manufacturing jobs back to the United States with the CHIPS Act. He made the biggest investments ever to combat climate change. And President Biden took on Big Pharma and won, reducing prescription drug costs for tens of millions of Americans. In fact, President Biden built such a strong economy that it has taken a great act of economic self-sabotage to hurt it. But all of you here, all of you that are counselors, all of you that are lawyers and representatives, know better than most that on a deeper level, whether it was as a lawyer or as a senator or as President of the United States, Joe Biden has always fought for the dignity of every person. Perhaps that's why Social Security has always been at the forefront of Joe Biden's mind, and why his defense of Social Security has always come from the bottom of his Irish-American heart. The dignity of every person, the dignity of work, the dignity of every child's home, the dignity of a compassionate and caring people who would freely choose to heal the sick, to feed the hungry, to care for widows and orphans, for those in the dawn of life and those in the dusk of life, every soul. For 90 years, without ever missing a monthly benefit payment, this has been the mission of the Social Security Administration of the United States and of America. And yet, when the president asked me to lead the agency, it was not because things were going well. In fact, customer service was in a sharp decline. Wait times were going up for every line of service in this, our nation's largest insurance company, and they were going in the wrong direction fast. You see, over the prior 7 years, Congress had reduced staffing at the agency to a 50-year low, even as baby boomers of my generation swelled the ranks to a new all-time high every day. But thanks to President Biden's leadership and support, the hardworking men and women of Social Security in just 1 year turned around almost every single service metric in delivering for the American people, and they got the agency moving in a much better direction. That's how President Biden, when he left office, left the agency, heading in a better direction. But now so many of those gains have been wiped out. And in just 45 days, Trump and Musk have gutted the Social Security Administration with a chainsaw. The largest exodus of staff the agency has ever suffered. And make no mistake about it, it's the American people who are feeling the pain. They'll feel the pain in the additional wait times. They'll feel the pain from being crammed into crowded wait rooms. They'll feel the pain from their field office being gutted and reduced by 25 or 50%. But I tell you, they may feel the pain, but they will not believe the big lies. And we've heard them again. We're hearing them right now. The big lie that there's a massive zombie apocalypse of dead people. Some of them, not only 150 years old, they're 300 years old. Not true. It's a big lie. And the reason the people won't believe it is because it's not true. The other big lie, illegal immigrants. They're sucking Social Security dry. When the truth is, illegal immigrants are prohibited by law from receiving any Social Security benefits, but they contribute $25 billion to everybody else in America that depends on Social Security. The American people aren't buying it because it's not true. They will also tell you the big lie that Social Security is rife with fraud, run over the cup runneth over with fraud after fraud after fraud. The American people aren't buying it. And they're not buying it because it's not true. Every inspector general for the last 30 years has concluded that the level of fraud at Social Security is actually less than 0.5%. So, as our democracy awakens to this massive breaking and entering in progress and all its attendant big lies, let no one forget that for 90 years Social Security has always worked, that for 90 years Social Security has never missed a payment, that for most of those 90 years Social Security was allowed to have adequate staffing to serve its customers. And finally, remember this, even when their staffing was reduced to a 50-year low, one president got it turned around and moving in a better direction. One president, in his final days in office, in fact, even signed the Social Security Fairness Act into law, the biggest expansion and strengthening of benefits in 20 years. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, that person is our keynote speaker, was the 46th President of the United States. So please welcome the strongest defender of Social Security the American people have ever had, President Joe Biden.
I just have to wait and see if music is playing. Hold on. Let's see. I have to hold on a second. I can't play the music. So let's wait until he starts speaking. Hold on. He's about to start speaking now. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh my God. So good to be here. The music still plays. He's speaking. He's speaking. They haven't stopped the music.
We deserve help and paid for most of it.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Friend, he is a great friend, Governor O'Malley. He, my dad, the Biden family started off in Baltimore. They don't say Baltimore; it's Baltimore, in Baltimore. And but we've been friends for a long time. And I just want to say at the outset, if you ever want anybody on your team, whether it's an athletic team, whether you're in a battle, whether it's a political team, whether it's a team just trying to help, you want O'Malley. The guy has guts. No, I mean it sincerely. He not only has political courage, he has physical courage. He's across the board. If ever want anybody standing next to me, I want O'Malley there with me. And I mean that sincerely. It really matters. You know, I always kid Maryland because Delaware, the second smallest state, we share the eastern shore of Maryland with Maryland. But we're close friends. And folks, you know, it's no surprise that he did a hell of a job when I asked him to be commissioner of the Social Security. And the reason I did that, it was not an ordinary transition for a governor. But I knew, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I knew we needed someone with some guts, some toughness, who'd fight for every single penny that it needed, that would try to restore the integrity of the system. And to everyone here today, I want to thank you, all of you, very much for this award. It means a great deal to me coming from you. And I mean that sincerely. It means a great deal. You're in the front lines every single day. You're helping, you're advocating for your fellow Americans, Americans with disability. It's a big deal. We talk about what happened to the physical side of it if we didn't have Social Security. Think of what the psychic calm gives so many people who just don't know where to go, don't know how to traverse what needs to be done, or alone. Last fall on the White House lawn, we celebrated the anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. As a United States Senator 400 years ago, I was looking back on it. God almighty, I've been doing this 50 years. It's hell turning 40 years old, anyway. But back in the year 1990, I was the co-sponsor of the Americans with Disabilities Act as a United States Senator. In my view, and I suspect many of you, it was one of the most consequential civil rights laws in American history. That's what got me involved in politics in the first place. Delaware, like Maryland, was one of those states, was a slave state. We had all the vestiges of what was going on back in the day. We were one of those states that still, I remember moving from Scranton, Pennsylvania down to Wilmington, Delaware, and Cole died. My dad moved back to where we could get a job. I remember I pulled into, my mom would drive us on the Philadelphia Pike connecting Wilmington and Philadelphia. And we lived in an apartment complex. And she'd drive us it was only about half a mile to Holy Rosary School in Claymont. But it was so dangerous, she wouldn't let us walk up because of access road. I remember pulling into the parking lot. And I had never seen hardly any black people in Scranton at the time and I was only going in 4th grade. And I remember seeing the kids going by at the time called colored kids on a bus going by. They never turned right to go to Claymont High School. I wondered why. Asked my mom, why? So in Delaware, they're not allowed to go to school, in public school, with white kids, honey. That sparked my sense of outrage as a kid, just like it does, and these young kids right here can tell you things affect them when they learn about something that's really just unfair and unjust. You know, my dad was an honorable man. And my dad used to have an expression. He said, Joey, your job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it. Well, that's what you're all about. That's what the legislation's about. It's about dignity. Simple dignity. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity, regardless of their standing, regardless of their economic situation, regardless of who they are. Making sure that more than 60 million Americans who are living with disabilities are treated with dignity is who we are as Americans. That's what it's about. I mean it. Dignity at work, at school, in their communities, in every corner of American life. Laws like the ADA need advocates like you. You're the ones that keep it going, God love you. You fight like hell every single day to make sure the law is respected and your clients' rights are protected. So from the bottom of my heart, I mean this. I give you my word as a Biden. From the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for your commitment to the dignity of all Americans, because that's what ultimately this is about. Folks, today I want to talk to you about an issue that's front and center right now for millions of Americans, Social Security. You know, some of you may know the Democrats have declared today the Save Social Security National Action Day, National Day of Action, I should say. We know just how much Social Security matters to people's lives. Everyone in this room fights for people with disabilities who rely on Social Security to survive. To survive. Not just the physical side, it's the mental side. It's the mental side. You make sure folks get the benefits they earn after a lifetime of hard work. The work they do is more than just a profession, what you do. It's a calling. It's not just a profession. And Social Security is more than a government program. It's a sacred promise we made as a sacred promise. 73 million Americans receive Social Security. From their first paycheck for their entire life, they pay into Social Security. And in return, they count on Social Security to be for them when they're going to need it. Folks, must never, ever betray that trust or turn our backs on that obligation. That's why during my presidency, we protected Social Security and made it stronger. Martin, the governor can tell you. We came into office, Social Security Administration had its lowest staffing, she referenced it, lowest staffing levels in 50 years. And demand was going through the roof because of my generation and the baby boom generation, reaching the retirement age. So the demands on Social Security increased significantly. Our administration secured nearly $2 billion to reduce the backlogs and improve customer service. We slashed wait times for folks in need who are calling the 1-800 number. We got it down to under 13 minutes. It used to be 3 times that long when we took office. We made it easier for people to get help with their claims online. We reduced how long it takes to review a case. We fixed the appeal system to make it uniform in all 50 states, which made a difference. We strengthened the anti-fraud measures to protect people's identities and to make sure benefits are going to people who actually they belong to. By the way, those 300-year-old folk getting that Social Security, I want to meet them because I like to figure out how they live out. Hell of a thing, man. I'm looking for longevity because it's hell when you turn 40 years old. But as a result, by the time we left office, we had improved every single line of customer service, from applying for disability to filing an appeal to reporting fraud. It all became more efficient and more effective. And I'll bet it made your jobs easier, too, in the process. Now, these achievements may not sound so glamorous to most people, but you know, they're absolutely essential. And my view, one of the most important jobs of any elected official is to make sure the government works for the people, works for all people. It's understandable. They can understand what it is. And then we keep our promises to the people, to all the people. That's exactly what we did, thanks to all of you. I also signed into law the Social Security Fairness Act. That act eliminated 2 unfair rules so public employees wouldn't get shortchanged. The government pension offset and the windfall elimination provision can never come in ever again. But as a result, more than 2 million people are now finally receiving the full benefits they earned. And remember, we also faced a constant threat by some members, Republican members of the Congress, to cut and gut Social Security, period. Cut and gut it, period. They wanted to let Social Security expire every 5 years. That was a proposal. Let it expire every 5 years unless reauthorized by the Congress. Who in the hell do they think they are? Every 5 years and then wait around and be... well. I will not go further or get in trouble, but look, folks. You can imagine the chaos it would have charged. Every 5 years, Congress is going to step up. You imagine this Congress stepping up? They threatened to raise the retirement age as well. Now, that might not be a hardship for someone working in a comfortable job. But if you're on your feet all day, you're doing manual labor all day, you're working with a disability, it's a very different matter. And then they even tried to face force cuts on Social Security during the negotiation of the debt ceiling. These are wonderful guys. Last time this guy had the job, he raised the debt ceiling because of an enormous and profligate tax cut to the super wealthy. And then he said, look, then they started talking to his colleagues. Well, maybe we can do something about Social Security, but we got to do something about the debt ceiling. How are we going to do? We can find the money in Social Security. Unless we do what they wanted to cut Social Security. Not on my watch. We refuse to go along with any of that. Look, Americans have always been able to count on these benefits. And let me pause a second here and say this. We talk about the physical needs that Social Security provides for people, particularly hardworking people, people retired, people on the edge. But the psychological impact is profound. Profound. You're a man or a woman You're 70 or 80 years old, you're not in good shape, you have a disability, and you hear the check may not come. How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? We lived up in Wilmington in a 3-bedroom split-level home in a new development, 40 homes, with 4 kids and a grandpa living with us. And I remember our bed headboard was near my dad's and mom's room. And you could tell when Dad was restless. I remember asking one night my mom, "What's the matter with Dad?" The next morning, she has found out that we're not going to provide insurance anymore where he works. Well, imagine if you're somebody who's been struggling your whole life. You're literally counting on Social Security to buy your food, just to get by. And you hear the threats, what may happen. Many of these beneficiaries, that's their only income. If they were cut or taken away, it'd be devastating, devastating for millions of people. And the psychological pressure we put people under by having this debate is absolutely devastating. That's why we work so damn hard to make Social Security Administration stronger than it's been in years. And that's why I asked the governor to take over, by the way. But look what's happened now. Fewer than 100 days, this new administration has made done so much damage and so much destruction. It's kind of breathtaking it could happen that soon. They've taken a hatchet to the Social Security Administration, pushing an additional 7,000 employees, 7,000 out the door in that time, including the most seasoned career officials. Now they're getting ready to push thousands more out the door. Already we can see the effects. For example, thousands of people use the Social Security website every single day to check on their benefits and submit their claims. But now, the technology division of Social Security Administration has been cut in half. And so the website's crashing. People can't sign on to their accounts. What do you think it does to that woman's living alone at 74 years checking, just not able to even find out whether she can't even find out what that disability claim is she has. She can't file a new disability claim. And a lot of these people are being told incorrectly that their benefits have ended. Folks, imagine the panic that causes if you're a retiree living alone with only Social Security to depend upon. So now people are overwhelming the phone lines. They're showing up at the local Social Security office, tearful and frantic, and told, "Do you have an appointment?" In that tone, by the way. I can give you a personal example if I'm not going to, though. To cap it all off, serious people are now generally concerned for the first time in history, for the first and only time in history, that Social Security benefits may be delayed or interrupted. Folks, let's put this in perspective. In the 90 years since Franklin Roosevelt created the Social Security system, people have always gotten their Social Security checks. They've gotten them during wartime, during recessions, during a pandemic. No matter what, they got them. But now, for the first time ever, that might change. It would be a calamity for millions of families, millions of people. But the current Secretary of Commerce doesn't seem to get it. Or based on his comments, he doesn't seem to even care. Many of you saw what he said the other day. And by the way, he's a billionaire. God love him, as my mother would say. Paying 8.5% in taxes. Anyway. Billionaires, I don't know what he's paying. But when he talked about the possibility of the Social Security checks not going out this month, he shrugged it off. Here's what he said. He said his 94-year-old mother-in-law wouldn't complain, wouldn't bother her. She's probably a lovely woman. No kidding. Her son-in-law is a billionaire. What about that 94-year-old mother living all by herself? Doesn't have a billionaire in the family. Or all the retirees who depend on that monthly check to feed themselves. All those people with disabilities have no other source. What about all those people? That's who you fight for. So those who desperately need you. And folks, it's not just the Secretary of Commerce. We heard how others, empowered and emboldened by this administration, talk about Social Security. One of them called it a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme? What the hell are they talking about? People earn these benefits. They paid into that benefit. They rely on that benefit. And no one should take it away. You know, Franklin Roosevelt had a different view. He was president coming out of the Great Depression. He and all his colleagues saw great suffering, so much poverty. He also took steps to raise standard of living for ordinary Americans, including creating Social Security. He himself was from a very wealthy family. He didn't need Social Security, but understood how much it would mean to millions of Americans. He knew it would make America stronger in the process, and it has. It makes our economy stronger. It makes the community stronger. It makes families stronger. It gives peace of mind. That's why the vast majority of Americans, including many wealthy Americans, still support, thank God, Social Security. And very wealthy billionaires still support Social Security. They may not rely on themselves, but they know. Social Security deserves to be protected for the good of the nation as a whole. You got to ask yourself, why is this happening? Why are these guys taking aim at Social Security now? Well, they're following that old line from tech startups. The quote is, move fast, break things. Well, they're certainly breaking things. They're shooting first and aiming later. And as a result, the result is a lot of needless pain and sleepless nights. My friend Governor O'Malley knows what they're really up to. He says, and I love his quote, they want to wreck it so they can rob it. They want to wreck it so they can rob it. Why do they want to rob it? In order to deliver huge tax cuts to billionaires and big corporations and keep it going. They want to make permanent the 2017 tax cuts, which overwhelmingly benefited the wealthiest Americans and the biggest corporations. That's going to cost $5 trillion. Where are they going to get $5 trillion to pay for it? Other than continue to run the deficit up? Well, where they always do, by running up the national debt, number one, and then by taking the money from someplace else. What are the two big pots of money out there in raw numbers? Social Security and Medicaid. Well, from other programs that people rely on and have paid into. Republicans, these guys are willing to hurt the middle class and the working class in order to deliver significant greater wealth to the already very wealthy. Who in the hell do they think they are? I really think I mean, just basic decency. Who do they think they are? I think anybody should go out. They can make $1 billion a year. They can, fine. Pay your fair share. You know what the average? We have 1,000 billionaires in America. You know the average federal tax they pay? 8.2%. Anybody want to trade that number? What you're paying? Folks, look. Let me close. I'm sorry to go on so long, but anyway. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania as a kid, and then Claymont, Delaware. Middle-class towns, working-class towns. Places where people worked hard all their lives with the promise that they'd be able to retire someday with a little bit of dignity. Because they've been paying in a thing called Social Security since the very paycheck they ever earned. These people get knocked down every day, learn to get up. My dad's one expression: you get knocked down, just get up. Get up. They get up every day. The last thing they need from their government is deliberate cruelty. It's about people and neighbors across the country who look out for each other. You don't see empathy. They don't see it as a sign of weakness. They see empathy as a decent instinct. They don't see cruelty as a sign of strength. Social Security is about more than retirement accounts. It's about honoring a fundamental trust between government and people. It's about peace of mind for those who work their whole lives so they can rest assured they'll have a chance. They'll get back some of what they earned and what they deserve. But more than anything else, I mean this sincerely. And as my friend says, maybe it's the Irish of it in me, but it's about who we are as Americans. Who are we? What makes us distinct from the rest of the world? It comes down to basic, in my view, fundamental American values. Nobody's king. Nobody's the boss. Everybody has a shot. All people are asking for is a shot. Honesty, decency, where hard work is rewarded. Have some faith in each other. Fairness, simple fairness. We can't go on like this as a divided nation, as divided as we are. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. It's never been this divided. Granted, it's roughly 30%, but it's a 30% that has no heart. What we see in America, that's what we believe in, fairness. And that's the America we can never forget or walk away from. Folks, I mean this. I know it sounds trite, but I have to remember who we are. We're the United States of America. The United States of America. The most unique country in the history of the world, and that's not hyperbole. Every other nation was founded because of religion, geography, ethnicity. We're the only nation in the world founded on a notion. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, endowed by their Creator. That's the one thing that united us, an idea. Every other nation was because of a purpose. It's an idea. And how can we fulfill the outcome, the meaning of that idea? We walk away from just basic fundamental decency. Folks, sorry to go on so long, but I feel deeply about this. You know, you've heard me say it before, and I'll say it again. There's nothing beyond the capacity of America to do when we do it together. Let's do it together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for this wonderful award. Thank you.
All right, I gotta cut off the music while he walks off, but that was former President Biden speaking about Social Security. We'll watch him walk off. Hang on a moment here. They're playing music, so I got to be careful here with the music. Yeah, I can confirm the music is still playing, so we'll keep an eye on him. We'll take some comments from you. He pretty much stuck to one topic. He pretty much stuck to talking about how important he thinks Social Security is, how it's important to make sure it's funded. He feels that the current administration does not support it as much as they should, and there's a risk of it going away and or being seriously cut. And that's what he spoke about. Didn't really talk about President Trump that much. At one point he said something like nobody's king. I thought that could have been a reference to President Trump, but then he said nobody's the boss, everybody has a shot. So yeah, it certainly was not a lot of specifics about Trump, I didn't feel. It stuck to the topic pretty much. Want to read some comments from you guys. It was interesting seeing him give his first major speech since he was president. He did spend a bunch of time talking about how important Social Security is to the people who receive it. He talked about like a 70-something-year-old woman living alone, and you know how important the checks can be to people. Anyways, what did you guys think? But I did think it was interesting. I didn't know if he was going to talk about Trump more and talk about other topics more. Somebody had brought the we had talked about this in before he made the speech. Would he talk about things about like the Ukraine war and stuff, and pretty much stuck to Social Security. Let me just lose the now because we don't need the now up there. Locke Losty says, I don't feel any better. Sentient Cannabis says, ageism is just as gross as racism. One of the viewers said 30% of the U.S. is heartless, according to Joe. He did say at one point something that sounded like that. Strong One says, not the best speaker, but he cares. Chicken Feet thinks he is too classy to insult another president. Sir Lord Dr. James thought it was strange. One of our viewers said he's not a mean person. Michael Edge thought it was the worst speech ever. I don't remember exactly what he said in that speech. I didn't write it down, 30%. I would like to get the exact wording. Again, I don't remember the exact wording. I remember hearing that. Did I write it down? I don't think I did. No. Hold on a second. Let me show you something here while we take some comments. Here, look. Oops, that's not what I want to show you. Biden warns that Trump administration taking hatchet to Social Security. Hey, by the way, a quick thank you. I owe a couple thank yous. Thank you to Eliza Jane, who says he talked about the loss of human dignity. Thank you, Eliza Jane. Motivational Living, I really appreciate your support. Also, I want to thank Lift the Veil for the gift membership, Dennis Kennedy. Slot Lady, our new member. Mayor, sorry, hold on a second here. Mayor Dr. Chris Allen Lady. fairly reasonable. Hold on a second here. Thanks also, fairly reasonable investor for your support. David Peltier, thank you, David. Fletch, thank you. You can see AP says, former President Biden warned on Tuesday that President Trump has taken a hatchet to Social Security. Biden, who has largely avoided speaking publicly since leaving the White House in January, delivered his pointed message during an evening speech at the National Conference of Advocates, Counselors, and Representatives for the Disabled in Chicago. He was speaking as Democrats across the nation offered similar action warnings for what they described as a Social Security day of action. He said, in fewer than 100 days, this administration has done so much damage and so much destruction. It's kind of breathtaking. They've taken a hatchet to the Social Security Administration. This marks the first time that Biden has explicitly attacked Trump, who continues to blame Biden for many of the nation's problems and often attacks his predecessor by name, says AP. Oh, thank you, by the way, Fred Flintstone, for the gift membership. So nice of you, Fred Flintstone. Thank you. Also, Captain Jerry Donnelly. Thank you, Captain Jerry Donnelly. Let me read some more comments from you guys. What did you think? Thanks, Sandy Doggo, for subscribing on Twitch. Thanks, Wonka781, for subscribing on Twitch. And also, Manda Raquel, for subscribing on Twitch. Thank you. I might ask a poll question. Scalia says back for speech money already. You know, one thing I don't know if he got paid for the speech, and if so, how much. That I do not know. Maybe he did. I don't know. Feist, our viewer, thinks all government agencies are bloated, including Social Security. He said America has never been this divided. As one of our viewers, I think Eliza Jane said, he said Social Security is a basic, well, he basically kept emphasizing decency. I heard him say that a lot. Pebble Girl thinks news agencies and Trump will have a lot to say about the speech. I'm going to ask a poll question, which is, did you think he would respond to Trump more? Did you think he would respond to Trump more? That's going to be the poll question I ask. Yes or no? I'm just posting this right now. I got to post it on one more platform. Got it up on, just got to get it posted up on Facebook here. One moment. Facebook, I'm posting it right now. Okay. Let me show you guys what you had to say about this question. I said, did you think he would respond to Trump more? Or not? Let's see. I'm going to show you now. YouTube, here's what YouTube had to say. Here is what YouTube had to say. I'll show you in 2 seconds what YouTube had to say. Here is what YouTube had to say on this question. I'm getting it on the screen for you right now. Here it is, coming up. 61% say no, 39% say yes. On Facebook, 80% say no, 20% say yes. And how about on Twitch? Let me show you what Twitch had to say about this. Did you think he would respond to Trump more? Specifically, Trump's criticisms of him. 71% on Twitch said no, 31% say yes. Basically 70-30. So the majority of you did not think he was going to respond more to Trump. We didn't know. Thanks to Kurt W9BBWI. Gen Xer thinks he was gaslighting and fear-mongering with nothing actually fact-based. Context Clueless said he's not a giant baby throwing tantrums for attention. I don't know how many big appearances like that he's going to make. It'll be interesting to see. I'll take a few more comments here. Oops, let me put this away. Why is that thing still up there? Where is that thing? Why is that? What did I do here? What did I do? Oops, I got rid of something I didn't want to get rid of. I'll have to fix that later. I'll fix that later. Let's see. I don't think there was any kind of huge development from that speech. I don't think there was anything so surprising or something. Yeah, John Fisk said he did a bit of yelling, especially towards the beginning. There was one part where he was really getting upset. I can't remember what he was specifically saying then, when he was speaking very forcefully. I have to go back and watch. Christian says, will Trump respond? I don't really want to do a poll about that, but yeah, I don't know if Trump's going to post something on his social media. The speech wasn't really very specifically about Trump. I mean, it didn't really call out Trump personally that much. I'm looking at Trump's Truth Social, and I don't see anything about the speech on it right now. Prague TM says, of course he will. Great Cornholio says Trump won't be able to resist. Thank you, Accedi, who says, how many people were managing the Social Security site and how many people were cut? Probably didn't cut enough, thinks Accedi. Accedi thinks no website needs that many people. I don't have the specifics for you on that. By the way, I did see a report. Marjorie Taylor Greene is hosting a town hall in Cobb County. And I guess at the beginning there were a few protesters. I saw a report a while ago. Saying there had been, I don't even remember who posted. Somebody I follow, a reporter I follow, said there were a few people who had gotten, I think a few people got taken out of there. Did I right? Did somebody get tased? I think somebody might have been tased. I think I saw a report about that. Anyways, the footage I have seen, the footage I have access to, is just a straight ahead shot of her. I can show you something real quick of that, but I'm not going to linger on that. Let me just real quick. I'll throw it up. I'll throw it up for a second for you. Give me one moment here. I'll let you see a little bit of it. Hold on. Hold on a second here. Thanks for your patience. One more second. Thanks for your patience. I'm just putting it up on the screen right now. Okay, let's turn this on for just a second. See what's going on over there. All right, here it is. Hang on, I'm putting it on the screen right now. If I can get it on the screen. Oh, we want it up there. Here. All right, I don't even know what she's saying. I have no idea. Is the volume not on? Maybe I don't have the volume on. I had the volume on. There's Courtesy. There's Marty.
In our time, fix these problems. Yeah. Why are you such a coward in the face of an obvious fascist takeover, Andrew? Ooh, scary. That's scary. You know, I've yet to see a fascist gathering. That doesn't exist in the Republican Party. As a matter of fact, President Trump is the most transparent president in history. The man literally talks to the press every single day. It's amazing. Not only that, he takes them on Air Force One and takes them to UFC fights. He talks to them and gaggles on the plane. He talks to them all the time. This is such an amazing thing that happened. You know, well, the Associated Press shouldn't have told as many lies as they did about President Trump.
Sorry, the sound is cutting out. I think that's on the source. It's just a loud broadcast.
And President Trump has been lied about by Democrats, has been lied about by the press. I mean, Russia collusion, come on. I haven't seen the press apologize for that. And many people, unfortunately, are still brainwashed on those lies. You know the real problem that happened in America? The real problem was this. Can you imagine that every Democrat you know voted for Kamala Harris in the general but they didn't complain about the fact that they couldn't vote for her in the primary, that the Democrat Party didn't allow a primary. You talk about fascism. Think about that.
Hey, real quick.
Not really a question, but maybe.
Hold on.
At town hall. How about that? Yeah, that's.
The audio on the source is just not great audio.
The meeting place be held at time due to security concerns. And that's something I do believe the Dems would fully agree with what I just wrote. I hope so. Thank you for all you do, Marjorie. You are a strong, important voice for sanity. Thank you, Michael.
So, I was just showing you, this is a Marjorie Taylor Greene town hall. It seems like the audio is having some issues. I think it may be a little too loud because I've turned it down a bunch and it's still pretty loud. So I don't know if that's the problem, but because we just watched a whole speech from Biden and the audio was fine on the whole thing. So I think it's the source audio, which I just muted for a second. But yeah, I just wanted to show you a little bit of that. Maybe we can watch, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but maybe we can watch a few more seconds. But the problem now is that the audio is just, I can refresh it, but I think it's just an issue with the source audio. That's what it seems like to me.
Sorry for the loss of your daughter. And I think that your statement, your words right here speak volumes. And I want to tell you that it was for moms like you, moms and dads like you, that I led the effort to impeach Secretary Mayorkas last Congress.
The volume a little better now.
And it's because of moms and dads like you and your precious children that should have never died from fentanyl overdoses. And like you said, they made a mistake. And President Trump is committed. He is committed. Oh, you want to know a big fight on the tariffs for Mexico and Canada? It's because he's sick and tired of our people being poisoned with fentanyl. President Trump has been very hard on Mexico and Canada both because fentanyl flows through both of those borders. And it's for families like yours. And so, Jennifer, all of us in this room, we
So I just wanted to show you a little of that. We came on to cover the Biden speech. I think I'm going to start wrapping up this live stream, but wanted to show you a little bit of that. Anyways, I really appreciate you guys coming to watch the stream, to joining me for the Biden speech, his first major speech since he was president. If you didn't see it, you can rewind and watch it. He talked a lot about Social Security. But if there's big news tonight, I'll come back on the air. Still in Lima, Peru for a little while longer where I am visiting. It is a great city. But again, I thank you so much for being here. And subscribe, follow the channel, Agenda Free TV. I got to make sure I didn't miss any, by the way, donations. Hold on a second here. Let's see here. Wonka subscribed. Did I thank Wonka for subscribing? I hope I thanked Wonka 781. And I thanked Exceedi. Okay, I think I got everybody. But thank you so much for being here. Subscribe, follow the channel, Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news coverage without an agenda. Agenda Free TV. Also, I will post news updates on my X account, which is @Lookner. You can follow me over there for breaking news coverage @Lookner. I'll show you that in a second. It is right here. Hold on. One moment here. Where's this thing? Okay. Right here, @Lookner. That's where I post breaking news updates. Follow me over there for breaking news updates when I'm not on the air. And, oops. I'll put a link to that. And, hey, sign up for our notifications. I never know in advance when some big story might happen. If you don't want to miss a stream, best thing to do is sign up for our free notifications. They work great. You get sent a notification whenever we go live. We do it through Discord. It's free to sign up. The mods will post the notifications link in the chat. You can also find it in the description of this video on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you sign up for those. The Marjorie Taylor Greene town hall just ended, by the way. In case you were wondering, that town hall just ended. A few weeks ago, we covered a congresswoman's town hall that was quite, Republican congresswoman, I think it was in Indiana. It was quite, what was the word? Contentious. It's quite contentious. I remember that. Hang on a second here. What did I do here? Okay. There we go. There we go. Hey, big thanks to our moderators. You guys are awesome. The moderators are the ones who make it so that we can even have a chat room. So I hugely appreciate them being here for both of our streams today. Thank you so much, moderators. Over there on YouTube, Sabrina, thank you so much. All of our other YouTube moderators, huge thank you. On Twitch, our moderators over there, like Cerrero, Matthew Kohai 3, I Got That Fire, thanks so much. Big Ball of Yarn, LB Prairie Dawn, Bastion Girl, thank you. K. Lowry Body, oops, I never closed the poll results on Facebook. Now I have. K. Lowry Body, I know, is over there. Thank you, K. Margaret Riley, Paul Anderson. Thanks to all of our Facebook moderators. And Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody who donated. Super nice of you guys. Really kind of you, and I really appreciate it. Your support is what keeps this channel on the air. So if you ever want to donate, you can go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. But thank you. I think I got everybody. But thank you so much for your support, which keeps the channel going. Let's see here. What was I going to mention? If you are on X, I would suggest following us on X at Agenda Free TV. I always post there when we're going live. I post updates about the channel at Agenda Free TV. And we do have a chat where you can chat for free with other viewers when we're not live. A bunch of our viewers like doing that chat. It's on Discord. It's the Discord chat. It's the same link as signing up for the free notifications. So check that out if you haven't. Speaking of Discord, thanks so much to our Discord moderators. Big shout out to you. And also, I do want to mention, for those of you who watch on YouTube, I would suggest signing up for our YouTube notifications, which can help you know when we're live. It's a little tricky to sign up for the YouTube notifications. What you have to do is you have to subscribe to the channel, and then you got to click this bell. There's a bell there, and you got to choose all notifications. So make sure you do that if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you have the bell checked and you've chosen all notifications. Hey, thanks to our subscribers on Facebook, like Robert Rial II and Lou Green and Jennifer Ellers, Sharon Klassen Gosselin, thank you, Kay Larry Body, Margaret Riley. Thanks so much for all of our Facebook subscribers for supporting the channel. Our Twitch subscribers like Wall Street Shaggy, Sandy Doggo. Thanks, Sandy, for subscribing. Wonka. Mandy Raquel. I think I said Mandaraco before. Mandy Raquel. Rivertown Creations. Thanks for subscribing. Matthew Kohai 3. I think I said Wall Street and Shaggy already, right? ZZGGYY, Nikki Newark. Chi-Town Bear 54. Thanks for subscribing. G Slayer, thanks for watching over there, G Slayer. Thanks, Geek, for subscribing. Bogan04 for subscribing. Monkey, thanks for subscribing. Annie Kush, thanks for subscribing. Attack on Now Luke, thanks for subscribing. Renton, thank you for subscribing. And all of our other subscribers, Massachusetts Guy, Annie Cush, thank you. And our YouTube members like Crypto King, Evelyn in Maine, CAC813, Per Holstrand, Just Me, J.K. Sinar, Slot Lady, Quentin from Astoria, Chung Peter, Greg Andrews, John Flick, Owl Hippie, Context Clueless, Dawn, thanks for being a YouTube member, Jesse's Girl, Context Clueless. I might be repeating some of these. Eliza Jane, The Lucky Minute, Austin Batman, Bama Fan, J.K. Sinar, Ara Moon, NDH, Gary Pates, Roger Shoemaker, Sign of the Times, Pebble Girl, Blasting Game, Mew Life, Cheryl Simpson, Colleen Typon, Janet B, Awesome Dude, all of our other YouTube members, Purple Cat Audio, and our other viewers. Thanks so much for being there. Raina Hood, thanks for being a member. Fabian ISF, Ronin, thanks to our viewers over there on X, like Soupson, and I Dislike Deplorables. Wow, over there on X. Thanks to Marjorie Jones for watching. Thank you, Marjorie. David Karshan, Christy Claft, and all of our other viewers. All right, we're wrapping this up. Again, if you missed the, oh, thanks to Barbara LaFrance for watching too, and Warzone, and Slot Lady. All right, so if you missed the speech, you can go back and watch President Biden's speech, former President Biden's speech. But that is it for now. We're wrapping it up. Thanks, Linda Forsyth, for watching. Thanks, Joe Hart, for watching. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks again to our mods. Thank you, Barbara, Debbie Smurthwaite, for watching. That is it for now, and we will see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.